Super good news, guys. I look like a ghost doing this, but we're going to roll with it. And this guy, yeah, look, let's show this guy. Yep, there he is. He just threw up all over the new carpet I got them. Like, less than 24 hours. Like, there's food everywhere on it. And the second I opened the door, he got super excited and just ran out. So I got to clean that after this video. But there's some very important things that we were talking about today. Loneliness is a very surreal type of experience because what you'll be told by a lot of experiences from other people and a lot of the stuff in spiritual communities is loneliness prepares you for something. Loneliness has to happen for you to get or receive something. And I disagree with that. And I disagree with this whole idea of lottery, slot machine type universal mechanics. I disagree with it. And I know it's a lot of mumbo jumbo, but I disagree with the whole notion of you do something to receive something. That is part of the reframe that I'm going to talk about in this video when it comes to reframing our loneliness. Because what we're not trying to do is get rid of our loneliness or bypass what we're feeling when we're lonely. It's in fact to sit through it so we can turn the inner eye. I love the famous quote from the first Dune movie. I'm not sure if it's in the original Dune movie from like, I think the 70s or 80s. I'm talking about the one with Timothy Chalamet and Rebecca Ferguson. But Rebecca Ferguson's character, I can't remember her name, when Paul Atreides is putting his hand in the box and she's like outside the room like freaking out. She is, I forget specifically, I think it's pain, yeah. She's talking about like pain and she's saying let it pass so she can turn the inner eye to see what it means. And there is such depth to that statement because when you're able to not bypass, and what do I mean by bypass? When you're able to not bypass your loneliness, when you're able to actually sit through it and not look for a distraction, you can actually begin to see what it means and what it's actually trying to tell you to do. Because when you feel it and you feel that loneliness and then you immediately go to something to make yourself feel better, you're reinforcing the loop. That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing. So I think the first step in this, chill out, dude. I think the first step in this, in being lonely and trying to reframe it and successfully reframing it, is to realize that there's nothing to fix. There is literally nothing for you to fix right now. And if you consistently put yourself in a spot where you think something is wrong, you're going, again, to bypass what you're feeling right now. What you feel right now, I know it is intense, and I know it doesn't feel good. It is brutal, but you're going to be okay if you just sit through it. Not just sit through it and try to push it and suppress it. Sit through it and actually try to let it pass so you can see clearly, okay, what is this actually saying? What is this actually trying to tell me? And that's likely where you've been, maybe for a long time. You've been reinforcing this loop of just, you're so desperate, you're in such a state of despair that you're literally trying to do anything to just feel better. And that's the reframe I think you need right now. And I could speak from experience. You need to stop trying to make yourself feel better. You need to ground yourself where you're at. And that leads me to my next point. Embracing where you are at. When I say embrace where you're at, I am not going to tell you to glorify what you are feeling right now. Again, glorifying would be another attempt to try to make you feel better. And that's, like I've stated, that's not what I'm trying to do. And that's not what you need to do. Embracing where you're at right now, like I referenced, you are seeing what this truthfully means. You are seeing what this pain you experience while you're lonely actually means. And you can't do that, again, when all you're focused on is trying to feel better. Because you have dreams. I know all you can think about right now is you just want to be with people. You want to be around someone. Okay? You've kind of flipped the dynamic. Like when we're in, high school or at a certain spot of our life when we're young, we literally see people every day. And I'm just speaking from my experience. I'm 26 years old right now, but I can remember being in high school and just school in general. I was around hundreds of people a day. I was literally around, like I would interact with dozens of people a day, every day for 5 days straight. And then the weekend came and I would hang out with my friends. In addition to that. And then even then, if I didn't hang out with my friends, I was in a home with my family. And I'm just speaking from my experience, but it's like being lonely at that point was the outlier. It was rare. It was rare that I ever found myself in a spot where there was no humans around. It would be if I was home and no one was home. Like, my family was gone and I was alone for like a few hours. But then life starts to dwindle to a point to where now it's flipped. Now human interaction might be the outlier for you. And yes, I'm here to tell you that we are here and we came to this earth to do something, to experience. We came here to experience, I should say that. Doing comes next. Experience is number one. And in that experience, it's going to be hard to find someone who doesn't want to be around people. And I understand, believe me when I say, I know the sentiment that it can get to where you just start to hate society. You start to reject human interaction. You start to reject people. You become one of those people that says, I hate people. Guess what? I used to be one of those people. I used to try to rationalize my loneliness by hating, because again, that's another tactic of emotional bypass that we don't realize we're doing sometimes. But I began to hate people, and I began to justify it because I was like, oh, I'm in a spot now where I'm lonely and I can actually see how horrible the world is and all this and all that. And I fell victim to the mechanisms of social media and media in general and how they try to just paint this horrible picture of this world, and that's just not true. It's just not true. And of course, you continuously find evidence like, oh, look how horrible this is, look how horrible this is. But you can always find beauty. And I just want to extend this to you because I don't want you to live in a lie, because I once lived in a lie that I hated people. I don't. I love people. I think people are the most wonderful. Oh my God, I can't even put it into words. I love talking to people. I love interacting with people. I love learning about cool people. I love random conversations that just exist there and you never see that person again. I think it's wonderful. That's what we're here to do. And as lonely as you've been, and as much as you think that you don't like people, you think the same thing, okay? You want to be around people. You don't want to be uncomfortable around people. You want to interact with others and connect with people on whatever it may be, on the things you like, on the things maybe you don't like, on things you've never talked about before, about things you talk about every day. You want to connect with people. And so I don't want you to think that you're weird or that you're never going to have human interaction. That's not something that you can use anymore as an excuse to keep you where you're at, because that's what you've been doing. You've been using your excuse to hate people to rationalize where you're at right now. But no more rationalization. If this seems like rationalization, what I'm about to say, then that's okay. But we're not rationalizing our suffering anymore. That keeps us looped and that keeps us in the same spot. I don't want this to necessarily sway or focus in on necessarily the relationship type of community or just human interaction, I should say, not community. I don't want to hone in on relationships specifically in this video. I simply want to talk about just being isolated away from human interaction. But as with relationships, you must understand that if you're in a spot right now where you find yourself to be super lonely and you're suffering because of it, you cannot continuously outsource your value and your emotional state on another person. And what I mean by that is you have to get out of this mindset of okay, once a person enters my life, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a new best friend or just community in general, then I'll be okay. You will reinforce the loop and I will spoil it for you. You will continue your suffering. You may be okay for the first period, first couple weeks, whatever it may be, but I promise you right now, you are going to suffer. You are going to continue to suffer, because why you're suffering, I don't know specifically why, has nothing to do with having to get another person. It doesn't. That's the way your mind is lying to you, and I can assure you the mind loves to lie when it's suffering and when it's experiencing this type of anguish, especially when it's intense. It loves to lie. So whether it's just community you're looking for, a friend, a couple friends, a romantic partner, stop making that the reason or the almighty thing that will stop your suffering, because it won't. I'll spoil it for you. Because I know what it's like to be in a spot where you think that's the only thing you need. And, oh, if I just got this, I'd be okay. If I just got a partner. And then you get it. And after that first, initial honeymoon phase, even if it's not a romantic partner, after that first initial, oh, I'm not lonely anymore, it goes away. I've experienced it. It's brutal. It is brutal, and it's very humbling. But guess what? It's okay, because you know that now. You know that now, and you can truthfully move forward to actually build a life that you don't suffer. And how do we do that? Like I said, it starts by embracing where you're at right now. It starts by embracing it, again, by not glorifying it, not trying to make yourself feel better, but genuinely look around at your daily life and be like, okay, what can I do to go from here to accomplish a life I want to live? Not my specific visions and dreams, and it has to be this specific way. Those are just compasses. When you have those things, that's just a compass. That is a way to put you in a direction. You don't need to make that specific thing happen, because when you hone in on a specific outcome, you're going to be disappointed if it doesn't look like that. So don't set yourself up for that. Release all expectations and treat the visions in your head as simply just a compass. That's all it is. It's a compass. And your feelings as a compass. Once you start doing that, you can actually focus on what are the things you want to do in life. How do you actually want to build your life? What dreams do you have? If no other person, I know this is a crazy hypothetical, but if no other human being existed, what would you do in this life? Because I'll tell you right now, let's just put ourselves in that hypothetical. If you randomly woke up tomorrow and no one existed, yeah, it'd be horrible, and it'd be terrible for a while. But if it's really suffering that bad, if you're really suffering that bad with loneliness, what's the difference from that reality with what you're living right now? And my point being in this hypothetical, you would eventually get to a point like, okay, there's no one else. What am I going to do with my life? And you would get to that point in that hypothetical world. And I'm telling you, you can get to that point right now if you are truthfully that lonely. I talk a lot about, I have coworkers, I have people I interact with. I work a customer service job, so I talk to sometimes over 100 people a day. I go to school, I interact with my classmates and people at my school. That might not be you. You might literally have such minimal interaction that hypothetical I talked about might be you. You don't really talk to anybody, maybe not even family. And so I offer that hypothetical to you because you have to get to a point where it's like, okay, I'm not going to just end it here. I have a life to live. If I'm young, I have so much of my life to live. What do I want to do? Because my happiness is not just on another human being. It's not. I have things that I love. I have things that I want to accomplish. What are those things? I'll end it right there. I'll keep it at that. What are those things? And you can't see those things until you're isolated. You cannot see those things until you stop bypassing how you feel when you're lonely and actually ask yourself the very hard question, what is this telling me? What is this telling me? What is this loneliness and this lonely pain telling me? What are you doing? I see what you're doing. You getting in my books. Ain't nothing for it. There's no catnip up there. And then once you finally embraced where you're at and you finally see, okay, this is what I truthfully want to do in life, do not move forward with the same mental framework that you've had this entire time. And what was that framework that we've had that caused our suffering? That we're focused on the end goal. That we're focused on doing this to get out of our loneliness. If you do that and you focus on that, you're just going to reinforce the loop, because we are not trying to get out of anything, because there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not weird. You're not lonely. And you're not lonely in a negative sense. It's the negative connotation of the word lonely that is keeping you here. There's nothing wrong with being lonely. You've convinced yourself. Okay? And again, I know it might contrast when I say that you're here for human interaction, but I need you to understand that you cannot see things clearly on how to actually start to interact healthily with humans and gain a potential friendship, relationship. You cannot get to that point until you gain clarity. And you cannot gain clarity until you have stopped bypassing your suffering. You can't do that. Because right now you have an unhealthy view of obtaining a romantic relationship or a friend. You have a very unhealthy view. The unhealthy view is that it's going to patch how you feel right now. It's going to patch your suffering. You cannot do that because you will literally reinforce the loop. Like I said, you'll get that romantic partner, you'll be good at first, and you realize, oh, this isn't what I wanted. So understand, I'm not here to promise you like, oh, once you do this, you'll get that romantic partner. Oh, once you do this, you'll get that community. No, I'm not here to do that. That's not up to me. That's not up to you. That's not up to anybody. This life is random. This life is random, but what we can do is simply put ourselves in spots to stop our suffering because of what we perceive we don't have. Okay? You're complete. You're complete as you are. And I'm not going to try to romanticize that or spiritually say that, oh, you're everything and all this and be very vague on it. I will be specific about it. You have everything you need right now. You have everything you need, and oftentimes you can't see it because of how much you're suffering. So the goal becomes, just stop your suffering. And yes, a lot of times it's simple. It may not be easy, but it's pretty simple. I'm sure you've heard that before. I am also here to ensure you that your life matters. You're going to have a story to tell. You are. Like, you're going through all of this, and you're going to start to see things more clearly when you stop just immediately resorting to suffering on your day. Like, oh, here we go, life, I'm going to be lonely again. You do that, you're not giving any effort. You're not giving any effort. Yes, you're going to need some effort on this. You're going to need some effort to actually look at your day and be like, okay, how can I minimize my suffering just by a little bit? Not bypass it, but how can I listen to it and be like, what is this telling me? So that I can truthfully eradicate it forever. But that takes time. You need to be patient on this journey. You need to be patient. If you're not going to be patient, you're going to continuously reinforce this loop as well. Please be patient with yourself, and please be graceful. Did I just say peas? Like a 3-year-old? Please be grateful. Sorry. Please be gracious. Grateful for where you're at right now. I'm not saying glorify where you're at. I'm simply saying, okay, I have what I need. You're always going to be okay. I'm always okay. Ensure yourself that. Your life matters. It does. Okay? Again, I'm not going to end this by giving you a dopamine hit. I'm not going to end this by glorifying something or lying to you by saying, like, oh, you do this and you'll get what you need in terms of that romantic partner or this specific thing. That is not up to any of this. And I'm sorry if the spiritual community lied to you. I'm sorry if maybe I said that in the past and maybe put that off as that's what I meant. But I'm here to clarify. It's not up to you what you get in this life. But it is up to you how much you suffer. It is. And that's what we really need to start focusing on, is easing and ending the suffering. Not temporarily by bypassing it, but permanently and sustainably for a long period of time. That's going to require patience and grace, which you have, because I'll ensure you again, your life matters. Your life matters, and you're going to build something so stable. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know what it's going to include, but you don't need it to match your specific fantasy. You matter. Your life matters. Your life is pretty cool. Get lost in the maze of life. Mazes are fun, but they're scary if you're focused on just getting out. Stop trying to get out and start being excited. Ooh, what's around this next corner? Literally down to every single experience you have of the day. How am I going to make today adventurous? Ooh, I'm curious about this. What is this? What's around this corner? What if I go talk to this person, not expecting anything? Just what would I learn? What could happen? Start asking those questions when you wake up today. Ask, how can I make today an adventure? Because that's what we're here to do. We're here to do a lot of things. And yes, you have a purpose. And you'll find that as you go and you build momentum. But we're here to be explorers. We're adventurers. We like being curious. We want to see this life. Okay? I love you all. Thank you so much for watching. I know this is a new angle, but I was like, hey, why not? My microphone, my cord reaches all the way over here. I'm getting really annoyed by my webcam when I'm sitting close on my previous 2 videos because it just keeps coming out of focus, and I'm trying everything. I literally have a light. I try to make it as dark as possible in the back. I'm sure I could get like a backdrop, but I don't even want to do that. I shouldn't have to. And I know I look like a ghost in this video because it's very sunny outside. My window's open, but I like it. The focusing isn't as bad. I saw it defocus a little bit, but I can also watch my cats a little better. You only saw 2 in this video, but there's one more, and she's staring at me right now. And if I put my foot on the ground, because I'm cross-legged right now, she will sprint away. She's a little skittish. They're both skittish, but 2 of them are skittish. They're sisters, and then, whatever. You'll see them in the videos, because I might start doing them like this. You might find me, you guys might find me in a spot that you couldn't think of. We might make our next video somewhere different. Not in my room. Isn't that crazy? We don't know. We'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, I try to take spirituality and make it practical. I love spirituality. I love being grounded. It's all part of the same mechanism, okay? And a lot of times when you lean towards one side, it can feel incomplete. It can feel very confusing, okay? But what I like to do is I like to take all the spiritual concepts that seem very vague and very just light, which are beautiful, and ground them for you. That's what my goal is. And so there's a lot of practical talk in this, and there's a lot of spiritual talk. I go back and forth. You might see a lot of my shorts and a lot of my TikToks where I talk about spiritual concepts without grounding them. That doesn't make them not true, it just makes them incomplete. In these videos, I try to establish that, okay? If you'd like to see a certain video, if you'd like to see a certain topic, comment it. Tell me what you want to hear. I'll do my best. Because like you, I'm just a human. I'm just a human. I've been through similar things to you. I've been through things maybe you haven't been. You've been through things I haven't been through. We're all unique. I'm just offering my perspective to hopefully help you stop suffering and ground you in this beautiful, wonderful realm that we live in. Have a beautiful day, ladies and gentlemen.